I demand an apology from every white supremacist organization in South Carolina. First of all, there was that boy who was found hung, and I believe someone was arrested for urinating or defecating on his grave. And now, in a church, we have Senator Clementa Pinckney and 8 other black people shot. And the news says 9 killed. I don't know if they're all killed or not. And at first, when I heard the news and I heard that there was a state senator, I was thinking, perhaps this is a good thing. But when I realized it was an African-American church and they were all black and it was a white guy who did it, your typical insecure, feeble, frail little white boy who's probably associated and affiliated with a white supremacist organization, the hatred started to rise. And I thought to myself, should I give these people some time for facts to come out? And I said, no, I can't wait on this one. And it's very sad in a world where we're pitted against each other, where the government feeds into it sometimes, some branches of the government, some individuals of the government, some secret societies that have infiltrated the government feed into it. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse. Those who are playing the role of your enemy and actively going to war with you need to be dealt with. There's no excuses really to be made for that. As long as they continue with these harmful acts and they have made it clear that they are our adversaries, we must speak on it. We must address it. We must deal with these people harshly, directly, decisively. I think it begins with a sincere apology if they want to make amends, but I don't really see how they could. Of course, there's a chance that this was a government operation, hoping to bring about a race war, hoping to bring about the ultimate destruction of these white supremacist organizations, because there are no doubt people such as myself aren't going to think it's a coincidence. We're going to connect the events. But I think it is actually more likely that this was actually a move by white supremacists to instill fear in the hearts of black people, which is unacceptable. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to put up with it. And I think there should be very dramatic consequences for this kind of excrement when they make this sort of a despicable, reprehensible power play. I don't see how this could possibly not be race related. I don't see how a government agent would throw away his future and his life to do something so atrocious, so evil, so unforgivable. To say this is unsettling is an understatement. This is an act of war. And acts of war do not go unnoticed by black militants such as myself. So now the ball is in your court, Mr. White Supremacists, Mr. White Devils. I would compare this sort of to a legion. That's why I say Mr. White Devils. Because you are a legion with a hive mind, practicing groupthink, and many of you are rejoicing. The thought of a bunch of inbred, backwood, tobacco-chewing hellbillies rejoicing at the loss of a righteous black man, whether you are a Christian or not, is absolutely, utterly appalling. So show us that you feel remorse. Show us, give us a reason not to retaliate. That's what I expect. That's what I demand. And I'm sure if the roles were reversed, you would expect the same. It's funny how black people could be trying to expose secret societies, government corruption, and white racists specifically, conveniently make it so our attention has to be refocused on them. Very, very sad. Very unnerving. Very unfair. That you people would rather hate us and fight with us instead of work with us to make the government better, to make America better. It's just unforgivable. Inconceivable. Who would have thought that people would act in a way in their worst interest, that's in the worst interest, out of a blind hate, instead of trying to make the country a better place, instead of trying to solve the problems that face us all? Who would have thought? Are we to believe that white supremacist groups speak about conspiracy in a superficial manner, and they are really a control mechanism of the New World Order? What are we to think in times such as these? Traitors of this nature need to be dealt with. It is sad how we can't all come together and address the commonalities of our political views. But instead, we have to fight each other over these sorts of things. So I say again, apologize, maybe show an act of contrition, maybe fight with the real enemy. Give us a reason not to see this as an act of total war. To think that the shooter stayed there, listened to the words, was unmoved by God, shows me occultism, shows me Satanism. It does point at secret societies, but there are also white supremacist groups that think similar to secret societies and indoctrinate their followers in a way that is very familiar to those who study occult, satanic cults. What is to be done with you? What are we to do with you people? How can we address the New World Order when you force us to address you? You refuse to let us progress unhindered. You want to show us that in America, a black man who is for peace will never get a fair shake. You want to show us that after all these years, not only is racism alive and well, but that the violent oppression of black people, black movements, black thinking is a great danger, a hazardous detriment, an unavoidable truth to all black people. This was not only an assault on God, an assault on freedom, an assault on the government, you may say, which I'm not too, saddened about. But this was an assault on righteous black people, all black people, and all people that believe in working together honestly, truly, to make the world a better place. So now, am I to overlook this? I expect that none of you will apologize. I expect none of you will deny involvement. I expect all of you will rejoice, leaving me with no choice. Which is quite sad indeed. Very, very sad. Many of you think, well, you live in California, what are you going to do? Do not make this foolish mistake. I urge you to do the right thing. If this is a government conspiracy, then show us that it is. Prove it beyond any doubt. If you are sorry about it, then show you are sorry. Prove you are sorry. Silence will indicate complicity. I guess there's no more that needs to be said about this. My prayers will be with the Pinckney family, the victims of this cruel and indifferent attack. And to think that white people are acting in the best interest of white people when they do these things is disgusting. To think that that's what they think, rather. This man had no real power. This was just an act of repressing, suppressing black creativity, black advancement, African American achievement. That's all that it was. It's saying, know your place, black man. And to me, what you are showing us is our place is in a militant movement going to war with you. Prove me wrong. I put you all on probation, so to speak. Latin. The Latin root meaning to prove. Prove me wrong. I think you're all a bunch of racist, inbred, out of touch hicks who want to stop my people by any means necessary. Prove me wrong.